Welcome to China Masterclass Webinar. My name is Sally Yip, MD and founder of 11K Consulting. Today I'm super excited to have our guest speaker, Joe Alim, the Director of Greater China for Cult Wines. And Joe is actually based in Hong Kong, but today I have the pleasure and honor to meet Joe in person in London, asking him lots of difficult questions. So just to give you a brief background, who is Cult Wine Investment? Cult Wine Investment is the multi-award winning global leader in fine wine collection and investment management. It is on a mission to make wine investment as enjoyable and rewarding as drinking the wine itself. So today's webinar is all about what mainland Chinese and Hong Kong high net worth individuals and investors want when it comes to alternative investment, such as wine investment. So we know that in the next few years, it is predicted that ultra high net worth individuals and high net worth individuals are going to spend almost double money on alternative investment in the Asia Pacific region, including China and Hong Kong, reaching a record of 12 trillion investment by 2024. So the first question to Joe is really, from your on-the-ground experience with Cult Wines in Hong Kong and China, who are these high net worth individuals that are more interested in alternative investment opportunities?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, Sally. It's good to do this in person rather than on Zoom.
Yes.
So I think, Hong Kong and China, we manage the region from our Hong Kong and Shanghai office. I think they're actually quite distinct markets, and the kind of demographics that are interested in these kind of products are quite separate in each region. Of course, there's crossover in both, because Hong Kong is that sort of a clash of Western and Chinese cultures. So you do have a slightly different profile of investor and collector that is based in Hong Kong. But looking at Hong Kong first of all, I think a very well-established market particularly for wine. It's been a market that has been incredibly important to the overall global wine market for a very long time. And conversely, China is slightly different, because China is still relatively new. The sort of the rapid wealth creation there over the past sort of 15 to 20 years has coincided with wine becoming more and more popular. So I think that the type of high net worth individuals and type of investors that are interested in these kind of products, and let's call them alternatives. I suppose it's an individual who obviously is an investor, someone who is looking to whether to protect their own assets or whether to generate a yield from their net worth. But I think more so and more, as we've seen over the last 10 years, is people are looking for that little bit extra from their collection. So, whether that's a bit of social cachet or enjoyment of their investment, or something to hold, something to look at, and I think that's a really distinct aspect of the kind of investors that look at these products in Asia in particular, and specifically sort of Greater China, because I think in contrast to perhaps the UK and Europe and the US, I think it's almost, the enjoyment side is almost more important than the sort of financial credentials of the investor.
Yeah, really interesting that people actually do enjoy drinking wine.
Yes, very much.
While making money as well. I'm really curious to know, are they male, female, older people, younger people? Do you have any observations?
Yeah, so look, I think China's really interesting, because I think that, whilst wine has been drunk in China for a long time, I think that actually over the last 10 years, what's really driven the growth in terms of number of people that buy and collect wine has been the younger generations. Yeah. So these are people that, have maybe, in contrast to their parents' generation, have gone to university and college in the US and the UK and in Europe, have been exposed to that sort of Western culture and aspirational kind of products like wine. And there's other things as well. There's art, there's fashion, there's whatever it may be, right? So, and I think wine sort of fits in with that aesthetic very well. So I think what we've seen over the last 10 years is the level of knowledge has gone from pretty low overall to now China is very much a sophisticated wine market like the UK, Europe and the US, and that's because the sort of appetite for learning has been so voracious over that period of time. So I think particularly in China, younger generations, people that are very passionate about wine, massive thirst for knowledge, excuse the slight pun, and I think that for us is really encouraging for the overall health of the market, because you become interested in wine, it's a life choice that you make, and that's going to be something that stays with you for the rest of your life. So these people are going to be thought leaders, these people are going to drive the wine market for the next sort of 20, 30, 40 years. And we're only just scratching the surface when it comes to China.
Yeah.
I think with Hong Kong, again, sort of going back to what I previously said, it's a much more mature market. So people have been collecting wine here for a very long time, much like they have done in the UK and in Europe and the US. So I think that in Hong Kong it tends to be, again, you have that newer generation of people coming through, of course, because wine has the same sort of popularity as it does in China, of course, but it does seem a little bit more established in Hong Kong. There are a lot more experienced buyers, and it's not just male and female; it's right across the board.
Interesting.
Yes.
Great. Next question, really. Cult Wines have been so successful in China and Hong Kong, winning many awards. So I was wondering if you can share your secrets of success in terms of your brand awareness, and how do you actually gain customers in Mainland China?
I don't know. They seem just come to us. I'm not sure.
Just like you.
No, I think for any business looking we talk about China itself first. The only business looking to establish itself in China, it's not easy, right? Particularly if you're not a Chinese company. I think it takes a long time to build up that reputation. I think you have to be incredibly meticulous over making sure that your clients have a good experience. I think that for us, maybe not the same for other companies, but I think that experiential side is really important. Looking after your existing clients, making sure that they can then go and endorse you to their friends and their network. And I think for us, that's been the main driver of growth in Mainland China, has been through referral business, has been through our existing customers having a good experience, and then wanting to endorse us to their wider network. I think we're now at a stage where we want to go to that sort of next level, and I think that involves a specific marketing strategy for China. And I think that Western companies can often fall into the trap of just the material, the information they have for the other jurisdictions they operate in. They're just going to translate it to Chinese and think it's going to work in China, and it doesn't work like that. I think you have to be very sensitive to the way people do business there. You have to be very sensitive to the style in which you put your information in about your company. I think we've learned that over the last 5 or 6 years, and I think that we're now at a stage where we've got a fairly decent following in China, which is growing all the time. So now we want to push on and try and develop that sort of more organic inbound lead inquiry and customer acquisition. And then Hong Kong's different. I mean, for us, Hong Kong, the wine's probably the most competitive wine market in the world, maybe aside from London, because it's very much a hub distribution. So there's a lot of big players there. There's a lot of big companies that operate in Hong Kong that operate elsewhere. The auction houses have a very big presence there. But for us, again, we have a vision of what we want to do with our business and what the experience we want our clients to have, and that's to make investing in wine as accessible, as easy as possible. And I think that we've stayed very true to that over the last 10 years. And I think that not only in Hong Kong, but also in Europe and the US, that's probably been the main driver that has allowed us to grow the rate that we have. And Hong Kong is no different. So I class China and Hong Kong for our business is actually quite distinct from each other, and you have to have a sort of a specific strategy for each.
So I totally agree about not direct translation, really understanding the culture, what the customers want, and therefore provide the solutions or interest they want.
And look, I'm no expert on Chinese culture, so it's making sure we found the right people to help us with that. And that's not easy either. Right? Personnel it can be a real challenge in China, particularly if your business is relatively niche. So taking time over that, investing the money where needed in the right people to help you with the right experience to help you try and establish a business in China, because it isn't straightforward.
So white partners, local people, local experts to help you to do the jobs. And do you have any advice for companies who want to target this group of luxury consumers in Hong Kong, China? Do you have what to do or what not to do.
I think people really appreciate honesty on anything.
Honesty.
Yeah, I think that
yes.
I think that it's for me. I think having spent quite a long time in Hong Kong now, it does seem to me that because of the way that Hong Kong is, you kind of feel sometimes that people are trying to pull a fast one over you, and that could be any point throughout the day, whether you're in a shop, in a taxi, or whether you're dealing with investments. So I think that being extremely honest with your customers and with your client base is crucial, and even if that means sacrificing business in the short term, I think that because Hong Kong is a very small place, you have to be very aware of the reputation that you have, and that's a really crucial aspect of growing a business in Hong Kong. I think China. Again, a lot of the same things are applicable, but I think in China, particularly for our business, it was security is always a topic that customers are always concerned about, because we're a British company, because you don't necessarily have the same tools as someone in the US would use to reference your company to do your due diligence, because you may not have the same profile on Baidu, as an example, as you do on Google. So I think that ensuring that you have as many layers as possible to make sure that customers feel secure. It's not relevant to every business, but I think particularly for an investment, particularly for a foreign investment, that is always going to be the most crucial aspect. And I think.
And how do you build that trust or make them feel safe when it comes to
our product?
Investing in foreign products?
Yeah. So look, I mean, at the end of the day, what our customers are buying from us are the physical bottles of wine that are stored in the UK. So ensuring they know those wines are there, ensuring they know that their wines are in an account in their name. But also, a lot of our information is in English on that side. So if you're someone from China, you don't speak English, and how can you be sure that your wines are in a safe place? So making sure that it's tailored to them, they can make it as straightforward as possible to go, do you know what? That's where my wines are. That's the facility it's stored in. This is why it's secure. I feel comfortable. I'm going to continue to grow my portfolio. I mean, and look, I think in Hong Kong and China there is this sort of cohort of people that are interested in luxury fashion, interested in the higher end of living, where they can sort of tap the crowd. And I mean, I think they require a slightly different approach, and I think for us in our business, it's whereas we can be quite focused on the investment side in the UK, in Europe. Actually, for these guys, in our experience from the research that we did, and that's another crucial aspect, is doing research on the market that you're operating in, is okay, actually the investment side is not actually that important to these guys. What they want is they want to own the wines, they want someone to help them out, they want the advice, they want to know that the provenance is there. And so I suppose it's just adapting your service offering to the right cohort of people in order to make a better value proposition.
Yes, that is so valuable and so spot on, Joe, in terms of when people want to enter into a new market, don't just assume that you can just one size fits all in that sense. And I like your point about how you build trust by adapting your services and products so that appeal to them and build that trust. So time flies. My final questions to Joe. So this may be a slightly broad question, but if you can share your insights, being on the ground in Hong Kong for such a long time, what are the big opportunities and challenges in mainland China and Hong Kong in the next 6 months, given that we are kind of moving away from COVID and the economy is kind of shifting at the moment?
We hope we can move away from COVID.
Yes.
Let's hope. Let's hope. So look, I think challenge-wise, I think it's almost getting a little bit boring talking about COVID, isn't it? But I think China needs to open up its borders, because for Hong Kong, for China, for Hong Kong in particular, that the paucity of the border there, and how many people spend the weekend in Hong Kong from southern China, from all over China, is crucial to Hong Kong's economy, and the wine market is no different. So I think that's something that needs to change, and I think if it doesn't, the longer it drags on, the more isolated China gets. It's a challenge for anyone who wants to do business there, because the economy is going to slow down, and it's going to create a host of other sort of knock-on issues. I think Hong Kong, Again, it's a similar thing, I suppose. I think we need to have international travel that opens up properly, and that does look like it's going in the right direction. I don't want to count our chickens just yet because it can go the other way. But I think that's really crucial. But then opportunity-wise, finishing on a positive note, China, we're very, very bullish on China. It's crucial to the wine market. We're very confident that over the next 10 years, it's going to continue to be become the real main market for wine. It's already the largest market for wine.
Yes.
So our commitment to that region is unwavering. But I think the opportunity is in that sort of second, third generation younger people, very passionate about wine. And very passionate about a lot of things, right? They're very curious about a lot of things, and they obviously have the wealth to do it. So I think that's really exciting because it's not the sort of well-documented older generations who are drinking wine, pouring Coke in wine. That's such a lazy commentary. It doesn't happen anymore. The wine market in China is very sophisticated, and it's only going to get more sophisticated. So I think that whether that's wines from Bordeaux, Burgundy, or more emerging regions that aren't necessarily quite as popular in China as they are elsewhere, I think that the wine market itself is going to benefit massively from that, because at the end of the day, the number of wines that are produced that we work with are set. They cannot increase, right? So they're at full capacity. If anything, they're going to be going down because of sensitive weather conditions. So if you have more and more people coming into the market and being interested in those wines, then actually it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that prices will rise as a result overall. So for us, the opportunity is just the scale of China and how popular wine is and how popular it's continuing to become. I think Hong Kong is Hong Kong. It's a very resilient place, so I'm still very confident it'll be fine. But they do need to work together a little bit closer and try and open up to the rest of the world and to each other. That's really
yes, it will happen. Yes, good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Joe, for your time and insights. If you like this webinar, please do share with your wider network, and feel free to contact Joe for more insights on Chinese Hong Kong market. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ali. Bye.